What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very important and special video that I should have made over a year ago, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I waited until I got a lot of miles on the Grizzly, because let's clear this up. For those of you that don't know, these are my two favorite machines of all time. They're both 2024s. This one's got 3,885 miles on it. This one has, I don't even know, 200 and something. So you might say, well, 308. So you might say, well, how can you make a fair comparison when you have 308 miles on that and 3,800 on that? Some of you know I've had Rubicons for years. I had a 2019, I had a 2020, and then most recently I had a 2021 that I put over 4,000 miles on. So it's safe to say, between all of them, I have over 7,000 miles on Honda Rubicons. And these were always my favorite machine of all time. And today I'm going to answer if that still stands. Because we have currently got, 3,885 on this. A good bit of miles. I've gotten familiar with it. And I've really come to enjoy this Grizzly. And I'm glad I didn't make this video right away, because I was going to. But after a lot of time with this Grizzly, the way I feel about it has changed for the better than when I first got it. When I first got this Grizzly, coming from Honda and the reliability, the robustness, the toughness of the Honda, I was a little bit upset with the Grizzly just for fit and finish things like this piece of plastic, which somehow has fixed itself just over time, rattled everything into place. I wasn't too happy with the certain things like the way the seat just sits there. I had a shock bolt come loose, so I about had a shock come out, which wouldn't have been good. But besides that, to put it simple, this machine now at almost 4,000 miles, the only thing I have done is change the diff fluid once and the engine oil maybe 3 or 4 times. Besides that, I have done nothing. I did service the CVT. I serviced that one time. But I am on the original brake pads, the original wheel bearings. Everything on this machine is bone stock. And that is very impressive, because my Hondas, as much as I always preached how awesome these were and reliable, one thing I did have to do on every single one of my Hondas before 1,000 miles, now this could be a big difference here. All my Hondas saw a lot of mud because I lived in North Carolina back when I had them. This thing has seen a little bit of mud, but not very much. I mean, look at it. It still looks brand new with 4,000 miles. It hasn't seen the mud, so that could be a big part of this, and that's also why it's held up as good as it has. All my Rubicons, though, within 1,000 miles, have had to have wheel bearings. My 2019 at, 800 miles had wheel bearings put in the front. My 2020, I had it to a little over 1,000 miles, needed wheel bearings. My 2021... wheel bearing went out at like 400 miles, which is really premature, and it didn't even see that much mud, so I replaced it. And then I just got rid of my 21 after it finally got totaled, and the passenger wheel bearing had 4,000 miles on it. Like, I think the machine had about 4,100 miles, but they were both wore out again. This one was as well, so both wheel bearings were wore out again. And that could just be from the mud and the experience of the Honda. We'll see. Time will tell. This is my dad's machine. He bought a Rubicon because he saw how tough mine were. So he'll never go in the mud. So we'll see if he gets eventually in 20 years when he hits 4,000 miles, if he ever has to do wheel bearings. But as far as these Rubicons go, that's the only issues that I've ever had out of them, as far as things that actually should be addressed and replaced. Now, the next obvious question you might have is, why did you switch to a Grizzly if you love these Rubicons so much? Now, the first reason I did was because, as a kid, I grew up on Yamaha Big Bears. I kind of grew up on Yamahas, period. So, in 2018, I got a brand new Yamaha Kodiak, as some of you may remember, way back. And it was a piece of crap. And I was disappointed. And I went to Honda. But deep inside, I've always wanted a Grizzly. Like, something about the Grizzly, back in the day, that was the biggest and baddest machine you could get. And the Yamaha Grizzly, in my eyes as a kid, growing up, was the holy grail of four-wheelers. So I always wanted one. And the Rubicons, I just started to get bored of them. After a lot of time with them, the power, is a little bit less, and you get bored. So I wanted to try something new. And I figured, well, I like reliability, so I didn't want to try Can-Am yet. even though I'm still very interested and intrigued by the idea of a Can-Am now, I wanted something I knew was bulletproof and reliable. That's why I went with the Yamaha. I knew it was there. I wanted that extra power, and the Grizzly was just the best choice. Now, in my opinion, this is a better comparison. This is the Honda Rubicon 520 Deluxe, and this is the Yamaha Grizzly 700 Special Edition. So both of these are basically top models. The Grizzly XTR is technically a more premium model because it comes with a winch, but this Rubicon does not come with a winch, and neither did this SE. So it's still a fair comparison. We both have added 3,500-pound Warrens, two different ones. That's the VRX 35S. This is the Axon or something, I don't even know. Both 3,500-pound winches, both great winches. But these are a more fair comparison. Now, you might say, why not the Rubicon 700? And that's because the new Rubicon 700 is a worthless Rincon with this plastic. It has no power steering, no diff lock. Still has a gas cap right here with a vent. I mean, it's really embarrassing. It's kind of a shame because that was my hope, because I knew Yamaha, or there was rumors of a Rubicon 700. So I was hoping I'd ride this Grizzly for a few years and then see a new Rubicon 700 and be all excited to get it. I was hoping for, a new 700cc engine, power steering, diff lock, a 6-speed DCT, not a Rincon 680 wearing a Rubicon's coat. That's not what I wanted to see. So as far as features, stuff like that, the Rubicon is way more comparable to the Grizzly. It's not as powerful by any means. That's the biggest difference here. Two different engine sizes. But as far as features, they both have diff lock. They both have power steering. They both have low range. They both have premium wheels. They both have independent rear suspension. They're both very similar in that aspect. Now that I have experience with both of these machines in a long form, I can go ahead and explain the differences and the biggest things I like and dislike about both. We'll start with the Rubicon value really quick before we get into that. So both these machines run about the same amount of money currently at this state. I think the Rubicon's actually more. I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure they're both right there. I know I paid out the door. Now, Grizzly's just come down $1,000. Out the door with the winch and whatever else I got, it was like 13. This right here with the winch was 13. So, yeah, basically the same. But what you get for that price is fancy aluminum wheels. The Honda gets 12-inch wheels with these 25-inch ugly-looking tires. The Grizzly comes with these 14-inch aluminum wheels with 27-inch Zillas. I changed them. This is my third set of tires. I've changed to these more of a hard pack, hard terrain radial, because that's the kind of riding I do, not mud. On the Rubicon, you get this nice big steel bumper, very durable. I've had great luck with those. I've done a lot of pushing and plowing, not with this one, but with my 21. Held up great. They get dented, but they hold up. Grizzly, you don't get any bumper. I just ordered one actually for this one. We'll put it on in a video coming up. And it was only $300. I think they come down $100. I remember them being $400. So $300, I have that coming for here. But you don't come with that. The Rubicon comes with these fancy plastics. These are painted plastics, I believe. You get nice stickers. Same thing with the Grizzly. Painted plastics, stickers. You get spot for a ball on the Honda Rubicon. On the Grizzly, you get a 2-inch receiver. Now, I don't have anything in there, fell out, so don't worry about that. As far as the racks, the Honda comes with these Quick Connect. I think they call them Honda Pro Connect, where you can attach different accessories. You can see we have the tray on the front of this one. You just flip these two levers up, which I have them just installed like this. They seem to work better when you pop them off. That comes right off. Bam. Now, while that's off, I'll show you. You come with this storage right here in the front. Really nice storage. This is your coolant check. But these racks are very heavy duty. They have the nice Honda Pro Connect, which we all love. Can-Am has their awesome system as well. Here's a rear storage box. Does the same thing. Nice Quick Connect. On the Grizzly, you have more of a basic design of rack. Very old school, very 1990s. No Quick Connect features at all. So this plate, this mount here is all custom to the rack. this rear box here is not quick connect. It has to be bolted on, and you can see I actually had them rip through, so I put these gigantic metal washers on. Haven't had a problem since. That was about 1,000 miles ago. So the racks on the Honda are better. You get, on the Rubicon, some rear storage here, plate that's not put on yet. Grizzly, same thing. Storage in the back, neither of them being very waterproof. You get a halogen taillight, Grizzly LED. You get a fender storage here on the Grizzly with a screw on and off lid. On the right side. On the Honda, you get one on the left side. It doesn't screw on or off. The Grizzlies holds a lot more, but this one's quicker to get in and out of for your phone or something convenient. Honda also offers a cup holder attachment that you can change out for this. See, now that seal's not sticking. Yeah, see, that's the kind of crap. Like I think everything after COVID kind of went to crap because never had this issue on my 21. But anyway, piece of rubber come out. No big deal. I'll have to glue that back in. Typical post-COVID. Even though my 21 is post-COVID, whatever. On the Grizzly, you have this. Nice storage up top. That's one thing the Rubicon does not have. But it has this one up here in the front. I do love that on the Grizzly. This is very convenient to be right in front of you. Now on the Rubicon, you have a 12-volt plug. Grizzly, you have a 12-volt plug. The Rubicon's is in a little bit better location, in my opinion, than this one down the fender, but that's all preference. So that's your storage and kind of your features that you really get for the money. Like I said, both of them are power steering, both of them are IRS, both have premium wheels, premium paint. The display on the Honda is very simple, more simple than the Grizzly, and it could actually stand to be updated, but they did on the Rubicon 700, but they need to transfer that screen to this machine. You just have your fuel, your time, your odometer, trip meter, temp, hours, service meter, and fuel, and your basic lights, gear, miles per hour. On the Grizzly, you have fuel at all times, odometer, clock, and you can have two up at once. So you have your hours, battery voltage, temp, clock, hour, odometer, trip A, trip B, service meter, and odometer. So you have a lot of features, and of course your gear indicator, just like the Rubicon. Now, that's the next big thing. Grizzly, automatic transmission, 100%. Put it in drive, you know, you're ready to roll, belt driven, constant, smooth, steady power. Some people don't like belts, that's why you get a Rubicon. However, these Yamahas offer a 10-year belt warranty, and it's very rare that anybody ever has a problem. So the belt is, in my opinion, it's arguably a better option when they're as good as the one in the Grizzly. On the Honda, you have drive and low range, and you have 5 manually selected gears or auto, and it'll automatically shift for you. But manual transmission, no belt to worry about, and it's relatively simple to operate, so I like it. I like this transmission a lot. Both of these machines have independently operated rear brakes and front brakes. Same design on both machines. The Honda has an actual park brake. The Grizzly has a park gear, no park brake. The Grizzly has 4-wheel disc brakes. The Rubicon, 2 disc brakes in the front, and a drive shaft rear brake on a disc in the back. Another thing that the Honda has is a U-joint in that boot, while the Grizzly has a straight shaft. You can see that. So, yeah, there's a few differences. Now, power differences between these two machines are significant. This is not boring to ride either. If you're on trails or you're working hard, this machine will pull anything you need to pull. It'll go 46 or 47 miles per hour top speed. So it's a little bit slow, but still it has plenty of power. It's not boring, and you have low range for when you really have to pull something heavy. The Grizzly, on the other hand, is a lot more powerful. Still a far cry from a 1000 cc or 850, but still very, very powerful, and will do a wheelie and whatever. The top speed on the Grizzly is 62, and that's one of the main reasons I went for a Grizzly over another Rubicon, was I wanted that little bit of top speed for the kind of riding I do. A lot of roads and Forest Service, stuff like that, old logging roads, I wanted that extra top speed. Now both of these I think carry about the same amount of fuel. I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly. I know on the Grizzly, I can go about 100 miles per tank. And on the Rubicons, I can go about 120 miles per tank. Both very efficient. I think the Rubicon, you can really extend it more by holding higher gears, keeping your RPM low. With the belt drive, you're going to be in a steady, higher RPM all the time. Now, as far as comfort goes, this is where I think the Rubicon wins. And this is all a matter of opinion. But when I'm sitting on the Rubicon, I feel like I enjoy the way the handlebars are a lot better. A little bit further forward feeling to me. The brake levers are a little bit more awkward than the Grizzly. But the seating position is better. The foot pegs are nicer. I prefer these deeper well floorboards compared to those. And when you're standing up on the Rubicon riding it, it feels right. On the Grizzly, when I'm standing up, I feel like my feet are too far forward. So it's like I'm grabbing the bars, like fighting to hold the bars. I think that could be solved if the bars were way further forward, because it just feels like my feet are really far ahead. But comfort-wise, suspension and all that, it's very similar between the two. I'd say it's a tie, in my opinion. They both ride very smooth, very good. The power steering on the Grizzly, I'd say, it's best in the industry by far, in my opinion. The Honda is good. The Grizzly just does it better. Simple as that. Now, they both have amazing four-wheel drive systems. My favorite. I'd prefer this over the Can-Am Switch any day. Four-wheel drive lock, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive selectable. Same thing on the Rubicon, slight difference. Four-wheel drive, you just flip that up for diff lock. They both activate very quickly, and I love that. Both of these have amazing four-wheel drive systems. On the Honda, your light switch is broken into two separate switches. You have on, low beam, high beam. Both of these machines have handlebar mounted halogen bulbs. The Rubicon has halogen headlights. So all three are halogen, and the taillight is also halogen on the Rubicon. On the Grizzly, you have a very simple switch. One switch does it all. On and high beam. Halogen handlebar headlight and two LEDs in the front. And an LED taillight. Now we'll go on to some of my favorite features of both. The number one thing I love about the Rubicon is the floorboards. They're very strong. I've never broke a floorboard. My Rubicon got totaled. I mean, rolled off a mountain. And all these pins got ripped, the bolts ripped, and I never broke or cracked these on any of my Hondas ever. Never damaged a floorboard. The Grizzly, I put a hole in that one already, so I opted for these aluminum plates underneath. And the biggest problem with these Grizzly floorboards, they don't cover you good enough. See how these tires stick out? These are bigger tires, but see how the Rubicon has tons of coverage? You can ride this Rubicon on wet roads and never get covered in mud, and that's a problem I have with this. This is one of my number one complaints with the Grizzly, is you see all the rock chips back here and up here. But basically, if you're riding on a wet road, muddy road, you're gonna get muddy also. It's gonna splash all over you. That's one major complaint I have with the Grizzly compared to the Rubicon. Another big difference between the two is the serviceability. Both of these machines are relatively simple to service, with the Rubicon, in my opinion, just taking it that much further. No tools required to get to anything. You pop the seat off, which actually has a latch, which I prefer. A little bit hard to get to with that box, but you just have to take my word. Nice latch. Seat's not going to go anywhere. Grizzly seat just sits in grommets. Works right now. In 10 years, I don't know if it will. But this machine, you pop the seat off. You can pop this cover off, get to the plastic or the battery, all your fuses right away. Easy. This whole piece right here, the entire centerpiece, comes right off in a matter of seconds. You can access your oil fill. You can do a whole valve adjustment. You can access a gas tank. All your electrical components under here. Very simple to get to. And changing the oil is very simple. 3 10mm for the oil filter. And I don't remember what it is for the drain plug. And then the diffs are very easy to drain as well. I think they're both 10mm. On the Grizzly, however, to get to the oil filter, you have to pull like a bolt there, and a tab down there. I don't know which one actually. I don't remember which side I take off. I think the other side. Either way, 2 bolts there and a bolt there, different size bolts. And then, of course, you need an Allen key to get to that, to get the filter off, drain plug. It's simple. And then the diffs on the Grizzly are 2 different size Allen keys. So I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that at all. It's pretty obnoxious and gets annoying. Not that this is difficult. I don't know about the brake pads yet. I haven't changed them. I know the Honda brake pad job is very simple. I'm not sure about the Grizzly. But that's one thing very impressive about the Grizzly I have to mention. Original brake pads at 4,000 miles. I am in shock. They're definitely shot. The rear ones are, at least. So I have a new set on the way as well. So we'll do that. Replace the pads, put that new bumper on and whatnot. But the Rubicon is very simple to work on. I don't know about actually accessing for a valve adjustment. I know the Honda, it's as simple as pulling this off, taking the gas tank off, and doing your valve adjustment. The Grizzly, I've never done a valve adjustment on it. I don't know if I should have, but it doesn't seem to make any noise. So I'm not too worried about it. The Rubicons, I've always done valve adjustments on all of them, but it seems not necessary because I'll do one and then they still tick. That's just the way Hondas are, they tick. And most of the time they're in check anyway, so I don't know. It's up to you if a valve adjustment's necessary. I've never done one on this, never done one on this. I've done it on all my other previous Rubicons. Now, all my Rubicons always ran Rotella 15W40. In the Grizzly, I ran Rotella 1540. And then this winter, I switched to Rotella 5W40 full synthetic. That's what's in here now. We got about 1,300 miles on it. Simple as that. Another maintenance item that is notable is on the Rubicon, there's no grease fittings. There's nothing to grease, which means you don't have to worry about anything. The Grizzly has 4 grease fittings. One there, one up top, same on the other side. For the aluminum knuckle on the outside there. The less stuff you have to grease, the better, in my opinion. Now, notable problems. Like I said, the only issues I ever had with my Rubicons was wheel bearings. This rear output shaft has always seeped oil on mine. It's never actually been an issue, but they've all been wet around that, which I think my Grizzly is now too, a little bit, yeah. And then I've heard of people that do a lot of water riding have issues with the 4-wheel drive actuator, and that's about it. The Rubicon is a very bulletproof platform. You can see that they have a very strong braced rear differential, which leads me to the problems of the Grizzly. Like I said, I haven't had a single issue. And it wasn't until 3,200 miles I put the diff brace on because I noticed my diff starting to lean a little bit. I've seen this be a problem. For me, it hasn't been yet. But I went with this from HGT Machining. Diff brace, a couple $100. Better safe than sorry, so I went ahead and got it finally. Do you have to have it? I don't know. I did it because, you see, they don't have any bracing on the diff. It's very weak design. As far as just what I kind of ride and I do, I don't think you'd ever have an issue. I've also heard of people having issues with the air filter, letting dirt in. Now mine, I've always just put air filter oil around where it goes against the plastic. And I never had an issue. The engine doesn't smoke. The oil's clean. So I'll go ahead and show you that. This is another thing I don't really care for too much on the Grizzly. This dipstick has me nervous. Just being a plunger like that, I worry it'll come out if I go through water. That's Rotella. Looks like we might be a hair low. You see, it's getting pretty dark, but that's about 1,300 miles on some 5W40. So yeah, not a fan of that dipstick much at all. The Rubicon has a nice threaded dipstick. The Grizzly, I think, holds 2.2 quarts of oil. This one holds 3.8 because the transmission on the DCT model uses the same oil. So it's important to not get water in your oil on these DCTs. And that oil is still brand new looking. And threaded dipstick, which I prefer. Now, as far as other things, the battery, I've never had to replace a battery on any of my Rubicons. Haven't had to replace the battery on this yet. So now, after all that information and comparing these two machines, which one would I pick and which one would I recommend? I think both of these are a solid choice for reliability. I think for pure work application, if I wanted a machine for the farm, if I wanted a machine to run around this property and run a drag, haul logs, work, I'm taking this Honda still. I just think it's a way stronger, more robust design. If you look at the racks, they're thicker. If you look at the frame, everything on the Grizzly is thin, very thin on the frame. The Rubicon is just a chunky, beefy machine. And I like the manual transmission. There's no belt. These come in a foot shift option as well if you really don't want any issues. I've never had an issue with the DCT yet, besides the occasional glitch. I think I would still pick a Rubicon though for pure work. It's just, in my opinion, more suited for it. The nice brush guard right from the factory, the nice heavy duty racks, the Pro Connect, the floorboards, which I always threw chains in, and just overall, I think this is a better workhorse. I think it's gonna last longer. I think it's a workhorse. Now, will it last longer? I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of tough to say because I haven't had any issues with the Grizzly yet. If I wanted one for what I'm doing, strictly trail riding, going up in the mountains, high speed, playing, I'm taking the Grizzly. A little bit more fun, more sporty, better at doing wheelies, things like that. Like I said, the floorboards I'm not a fan of, getting dirt all over you and stuff. But the Grizzly is probably what I would recommend for somebody that wants a strict trail machine. And yeah, that's pretty much it for these two machines. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you want more videos on these two machines, let me know down in the comments. If I forgot anything or you have a question, comment down below and I'll be glad to answer them. And we will see you in the next one. 4,000 mile review coming soon as we hit 4,000. And we'll have the new brake pads. I'm going to force it to make it to 4,000 on these. And then we'll have the nice bumper on the front and whatnot. So anyways, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.